Day 2 of my army display build. Now, as you can see from the original idea, which was just going to be this piece, yeah, I've expanded this quite a bit. So, last video, I kind of set up some of the areas where I'm going to be filling in gaps and things of that nature. So, I'm going to do this as the open courtyard up above, and then I'm doing an underground underneath. Now, with a few extra tidbits within, like, the cubbies and things of that nature. So, I bring you guys around here in a second, but I think what I'm going to do right now, let's go ahead and bring stuff up. Okay. So, yesterday I did a fill in a gap up here, and this is actually going to be a removable piece. So I got to pretty much finish gluing this together to get that back in place so I can hold, and then I can actually, I'm going to set up a handle of some type, at least something decorative. Excuse me. Something decorative that can work here, that I can pull this up, and that way we could look inside from above and from the front if you wish. You won't be able to see through the back because I have something. I'm hoping to plan something similar to like a stained glass cover here. Probably plexiglass, more, plexi. Basically plastic glass that I could paint on for this to illustrate, if anyone who is a Dark Angels fan or a Dark Angels player and has read the lore or even listened to the lore, you guys will see what that is about. So there's that. I got some pillars here to support my main courtyard, to support this main courtyard here, where the army, most of the army that's not part of my inner circle, which will be underneath in the catacombs down here, which is the idea. That'll be down here as well. Also with this. So what I got, I ended up going to the dollar store for some what's called ready board. I got it for like $1. So, and I'm not building this as one giant piece. It is going to be two separate pieces that I can break it down, and I'd be able to stow away a little easier when I'm not using it for the army display. So that's the idea there. Now, at this point, I'm pretty happy with how this is going back here. So I'm going to glue these. I'm going to set this up to, I'm going to get ready to glue these down. So that's going to take a little bit of spackling on my pillar, on my foam pillars here. And then some spackling on my foam pillars here. And after I do that, I'm going to go ahead and glue this guy up too. Just the two pieces that I have in here, because it's literally two pieces. It's literally two separate pieces because I cut it a little too shallow, unfortunate, but yeah, I cut it a little too shallow, sadly, unfortunate, but so I gotta glue these together as well. So anyway, that's fine. Claps, all of you. All right. Anyway, give me a second. I'm going to go ahead and yeah, I got something that I can use. And it's flex based is what it is. It's essentially like it's a rubber sealer. You use it on like you use it on walls and stuff like that, foam, everything. Anyway, here we go. And I don't need any special spackling tools. Just a wooden stick will do me. Hopefully this stuff is okay, because it's sat over winter. Oh. Oh no. Yeah, that's what I thought. Well, sad. Yeah, well, that sucks. I'm not surprised. So, well then, we'll do the next thing. We'll do the next best thing, which will be regular glue. Because that worked pretty good around here, and I'm going to be sealing this together with basically a combination of a concrete mix, pre-made concrete mix for miniature building, miniature terrain construction, and also I'm going to do a Mod Podge, because I'm going to need a lot. So, excuse me. So, of course, I'm sure some of you may be asking, if you're new to the channel or if you haven't done this kind of foam construction before, you may be wondering, why can't you use super glue? Well, super glue eats this stuff. Pretty much like I would take a bag of chips and eat it in a day. So that's how. But unless you seal it, it will actually eat through it like it's nothing.
Hi, Dada.
Hi, sweetie. What's up? I see that. Have fun. Be safe. My youngest. Go. Okay. There. Don't have to worry about that. Now, eventually, this will be, like I said, this is going to be covered in a, this one I'm probably going to do the Mod Podge floor is what I'm going to use as a nice sealer to make sure it doesn't warp very much. And it will also allow me to seal the pillars to the floor as well. That's the whole point of that. So there's all kinds of mixtures. You can find them all over the place, whether it be YouTube content creators. They have a lot of different recipes. There's also a lot of different recipes you can find online as well. So those are a lot of the, there's a lot of the methods. So what I'm going to do is just so that way I didn't have to write it down constantly, I just looked up a recipe for a basic Mod Podge of a concrete floor, which when you do that, it just does more like a textured floor, which involves basically using Mod Podge, fine sand, or tile grout. Hi.
What are you doing, Dada?
Working on my project, dear. My project. What do you think this is? This is my project. Uh-huh. Okay. Great way to keep pressure on that. Hi. There we go. Oh. Yeah, because it rained last night. Pretty good, I'd say. Okay. Now. Alright. So yeah, I'm going to start at least getting everything settled in. That's what I'm going to do. I'm really happy with how everything is. So that's pretty much what the process is now. And then I should be able to give you guys at least a tour of what this will look like when it's all said and done. At least assembled, I should say. Oh. Glue so far away. All right. Oh. Ooh. Thank you. Give it to me. Okay. Now, yep, I want that removable. Okay, there's that. There we go. There's that. All right. I know you guys can't see anything from the front here on your angle, but basically I'm laying down, like I said, you can see the glue in my hand. I'm gluing down the structures that are going to be a part of this. So that's the whole idea here. If I had a second camera, I would gladly use it to have one angle, two angles. It'd be fun. But unfortunately, I do not have the funds necessary to do such things. So maybe someday if this thing gets rolling and I'm able to do this for a living. But until then, you guys are stuck with my phone camera. Just let that sit where it needs to sit. Okay. Random phone bits. Anyway. Okay.
Hi, Dada.
Hi, sweetie. Okay. There's that. Now, bring you guys down on a little tour so you guys can see this proper. Hang on now. Whoop. So here is the backside. Obviously, you could see that before. And you guys saw this in the very beginning. Go. So that'll be the courtyard, as you can see, as it sits as a whole. Now, and then you can, as you'll see, once everything is detailed, it'll look like a nice underground chamber. Now here we have the main piece here, which would be the front here. Let me back you guys up a little bit. There we go. So there's that. Now this I'm setting up as kind of a cathedral look is the idea here. So there's going to be all kinds of details in here. Not necessarily pews or anything like that, but details around the back. This is where hopefully I can do my my power sources, hopefully through here. And again, I can do some plexiglass look there. And this will be the roof. And that's going to be the roof, basically. That's going to be removable. So then obviously you have the catacombs down here. They'll be this will be a setup here. Maybe like this, with as large as this is, I'm thinking maybe if I can do it. I don't think I can fit the Brutalist. If you saw from my image, the thumbnail in the first video, I have the Venerable that fits in here. So I'm thinking that's where I'll do that. Over here, this will probably be... I'm thinking this was where I might do... I don't know, maybe some training grounds in here or something like that. Or maybe the training ground will be on the backside, and then these could be like where the dungeons are, perhaps. I mean, I'm not 100% sure what I'm going to do yet. I got to kind of figure it out as I go and get my models together as I go. So, yeah, that's kind of the thought there. So, anyway... that's the idea so far, guys. Okay, so that's the thought so far. Now, I gotta get this squared away. Luckily, this is nice and malleable. And hopefully, if I can get this sealed on once the glue sets today, if the glue sets on here, and then I can actually set these up accordingly as well. I can get this guy glued on and stable. This is the goal. Then I can at least do the display of my full army that I have to show you guys. So stay tuned for the next clip, and hopefully you'll be enjoying this process as much as I have. Okay. The pillars and everything that I glued down is glued down, and I managed to at least put out my entire army that I have. Now, obviously, I don't use this all at once. However, having it as the all army display in its entirety is nice. So we have the tank, we have a flyer, we have inner circle companions, repulsor executioner, hail strike, and he's old. 5 of my intercessors with an ancient. It was really fun. Assault jump pack intercessors, 10-man with the captain and jump pack there. 10 hellblasters, lieutenant, aggressors, flamers, librarian, 10 infernus. That's 5 outriders with the Raven Wing command squad. Then 6 more outriders with chaplain on bike. He is my chaplain conversion on bike, matter of fact. I'm really happy with how he turned out. Down here, we have what I'm going to call the training grounds. This is going to look really lopped and one-sided, however, but it's fine. It adds a little bit of a humor to the story. So we have the Apothecary and my other 5 intercessors. This is Lazarus. He is one of the characters of the Dark Angels. Down here, on this side, you won't see them all at once, but I have a 10-man Terminator, Librarian Terminator armor, going up against my 5-man intercessors with the Apothecary and Lazarus watching how the recruits do, which to me is hilarious. So, moving up here. Let's bring it around to the front. Now this is also something I did off camera when I was outside playing with my youngest daughter, who's here today. Oh, little sword. I found a lot of these little twigs, and I bundled them together, and I'm going to use these and try to build this into this piece here as a way to lift and open the centerpiece. But yeah, have a good look in there from my angle. Yeah, even with the tree in the way, I don't care. It adds a little more detail. It makes you look around a little bit. Now down here, I have 4 of my Deathwing Knights. They're going to be guards, in a sense, guarding the... these probably will be prison cells. These might be cells, maybe, or hallways that go into dungeon cells. I think that's what I'm going to set them up as. Then I have my Brutalist and Venerable in here. I might switch these around, but we'll see. Then we have what I will call the Subterranean Church. Now I did take some plastic card to put over the top of that to cover it up, but it will be covered more anyway. Now in here, I have, this is a conversion as well as a Captain with Shield with 3 Play Card Veterans. Oh my gosh, a regular chaplain. And then this is Asmodai. He is kind of like the head chaplain, not an interrogator chaplain, but a head chaplain for the Dark Angels. So that's where that is. And lastly, in the center of here, this is the sergeant of the, this is the sergeant of my knights here, but I have him placed in the middle, talking with kind of with Belial, Azrael, and then that is Lionel, that is the lion, in the center in the back. Now I created a little brazier. I have plans to kind of illuminate this and fill this in. So yes, that's kind of where I'm going here. So we'll see how this turns out, because of course I got to put this all away again before I can actually start doing my sealing and everything else. So, but yeah, I wanted to get it all out on the board, make sure I had it all, enough room for everyone. So I'm looking very much forward to it. So keep an eye out for the next segment, guys, because the next segment is going to be probably putting down only all the texturing. So the texturing to sealing and texturing all at once. Oh, it's going to be a lot. So wish me luck, guys, and hopefully you enjoy this journey, and hopefully you guys can enjoy the content I have created also. Hey guys, so I am about to work on my Crete mixture here. It's going to be a combination of Mod Podge. I have what's really fine, it's called Ballast, which is a modeling sand, but I'm going to be using that, plus mixing in a little bit of some pewter gray dollar store paint, nothing crazy, dollar acrylic. We'll see how much I can get done. Now, yes, you notice it is separate. I'm doing this side first because it is the larger side. I do have a pre-done Crete mixture, and I'm going to see how it will look comparatively to my Crete mixture. If it's really, really close, then I shouldn't have to do anything else. If it's not, then basically I will probably end up getting a second batch of this together. Get a second batch of this together, so that way it has a consistency. So, keeping that in mind, I need to basically measure out my gray paint. So that way, if I do have to make a second batch, I will have a reference to how much I need, which is going to matter. Now, you're probably wondering what the little skewers are for. Well, hopefully while this is setting, when it's still fresh, I want to try to make these into slabs, is the idea. It's going to be concrete slabs. So, here we go with the process. Go. 2 medium dollops of gray paint. And now the ballast. Of course. Alright, well. Just what I'm looking for. Now, as far as the mixture is concerned, the good thing about it is that you can make it as rough or smooth as you want. That's the really great thing about making your own. Probably it's about 1/8 of a bag. All right, time to mix. Starting at 1/8. So I don't know how well the color will come out for you guys. Also, this bowl is a sacrificial bowl. I literally got it out of the dollar store this morning. So, I think I need a little. It is a fine ballast, so if you can go with a coarser grain if you wish. I went with fine because I don't want it to be too rough, I guess would be the right way to put it. I wanted it to be more of just with the grainy feel of it. So, there we go. That looks pretty good. All right. Put that aside. Now I'm going to be using a brush for this, so there is going to be inherent lines of the concrete too, which is why I wanted the skewers to kind of do the dividing line. So, a nice fresh sacrificial brush. All right. I'm probably going to start with the pillars first because those things I want to make sure they are sealed, and then I'm going to mark my way to the floor and see how we're doing. Yeah, I mean, the consistency right now looks pretty good here. It's got that rough grain, very much like I have the pre-made style that I have picked up. So basically between cheap sacrificial bowl, between a cheap sacrificial bowl for about $5 at a dollar store, you might be able to find cheaper ones if you want, if you're doing smaller projects. Mixed with the sand was $3 at a hobby store, and then this Mod Podge I picked up at another store for the size bottle I got was like $6. So the pillars are pretty much done. A couple spots I want to dollop up there, make sure I've got a fairly even coat on it. Cool. Looks good. Okay, now the next part, the floor, which I am definitely going to have to make more. But I will at least start in the center because I want to see how the lines are going to look when I use the skewers to start marking my concrete lines. That to start with. Now, I'm sure at a distance, I mean, you can see that, yeah, it's gray, gluish, sandy looking, but I bring you guys a little bit closer once I get the rest of this complete. But right now, I want to see how this goes. What I want it to be is just like an indent. It doesn't have to go all the way through. Just an indentation. Not as good as I'd like. Probably has to be a lot thicker, which would add weight to this, and I don't know if I want to go that route. So I may just have to put in my own and give the illusion of that. So either way, we're going to continue. We're going to mix the next batch so I can get the rest of this done. And maybe I can even lay down, maybe I could lay down another maybe I could lay down a second layer and maybe I could try it again. We'll see. But here we go. So, just like before, so the measurement for this out of a 16 fluid ounce bottle, which I'll probably explain after this little bit here, but it's about 1/8 of a bottle out of a 16 ounce bottle, 2 medium dollops of the acrylic paint right here going in, followed by a 1/4 bag of the fine sand that you find in modeling. So that is the mixture I've found to like, and I will probably explain this again secondly once I go into it again. So enjoy, guys. Yeah, even if I'm scraping it off of here, I can feel the grain in this, and I really like the feeling of that. So now, since I have this brush, finish mixing in here like so, and as you can see, that recipe of 2 medium dollops of gray pewter paint, 1/4 bottle of this size Mod Podge, which I believe is 16 fluid ounces, a 16 ounce bottle of Mod Podge, a 1/4 bottle of that, and then about a 1/4 of the fine ballast sand. So that is my recipe for this. And like I said, you guys can find your own recipe that you like for whatever project you are bringing it into. So, but like I said, if you wanted something like a fine concrete look, which is what I'm going for, this is the direction we want. All right, there we go. Where did I? There you are. So, since I have it, I'm going to, since I have the spare, I'm going to go ahead and lay some on this. Not all of it, because there are areas I want to add some lighting to and whatnot. Make sure I didn't miss any thin spots. There we go. There we go. Make sure I got no thin spots, no weird kind of lines. Go. So since I have it, I may as well try to use it. I'm going to go ahead and of course this thing feels like moving. Okay. Oh, okay. There we are. Now, obviously, yes, I didn't do it all, but that's because I have other things I'm going to be doing. So, I'll at least set this up to be back together so you guys can kind of see how the coloring will come together and all this. So, give me a little bit, and I will have this all set back up on the table accordingly so you guys can see it. All right. Now, yes, there are some thin spots here and there. Luckily, I still have some left over. But this will give you guys an idea of what this will look like when it's all together. Now, there are other things I'm planning. As you can see, I have some battery boxes set up right there. And that is what's going to power the electrical lighting that I plan to do both inside this big piece here and underground here in the training zone here. So, but yes, that's going to give you guys the idea of what this will look like when it is all Mod Podge created up, sealed, and basically ready for paint once I get the electrical installed. And I also have to do the the inside of this, obviously, and a few other pieces and whatnot. But I wanted to at least get a jump start on it and show you guys what this is going to look like. So, subscribe, like, comment, share. Keep an eye out for the next video upload and shorts also. Now, I haven't done any updates yet for the diorama piece because I had just pretty much gotten to a point where I'm happy with how it looks at the moment. But keep an eye out for those also. Those will be coming out at least once or twice a month, probably starting next month. So anyway, thank you guys so much, and I appreciate it. Hopefully you enjoy the content, and hopefully you enjoy what this will turn into when it is all said and done. Catch you on the next one.